Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms, a podcast where the mystical meets the everyday. Join Amanda Nova and Beth Renov each week as we dive into the profound journey of awakening, sharing our experiences, insights, and the lessons that guide us toward our divine purpose. Together, we awaken and guide our souls and others, exploring the magic of living in the 3D while staying connected to the higher realms, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the growth. You've been guided here for a reason. Trust in the journey and let the unfolding begin.
Hello and welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms. I'm Amanda Nova and I am here with Beth Renov, and we have been struggle busing to try to get on to even record the past few times. I mean, it's taken us collectively an hour and a half, I think, for both of these times that we've tried to do this, but we are here. We've made it. So collective inhale and exhale.
Oh my God, needed that. Yes.
Yeah. How are we?
I mean, beyond that, fine. Like, I just don't know. This shadow period of Mercury retrograde is really messing with me. So.
Yeah.
And the full moon.
And the full moon. Yeah. So today we're recording on the full moon. So you guys will be listening to this nearly a week later, but obviously the full moon impacts us days before and days after, which is why energetically beforehand, I never sleep before a full moon. Like, I have not slept in 2 days. I just never do. And this one feels like I was looking at the Schumann resonance the past couple of days, and it's been actually really interesting. Like, there hasn't been a lot of like high frequency energy. Like, there's been no white, but there's been a lot of green coming in. And the vibe that I'm getting, and like what's been at least happening in my household, is like it's almost felt like this fog has rolled in. Like, we've been feeling really slow. It feels really foggy. It feels like almost like moving through molasses a little bit. Like, we went through receiving all of this super duper high frequency energy last week, and it feels like now we're in more of this integration and, you know, this little bit of like, you know, coming back into our bodies, but it feels really foggy. I don't know if that resonates for you.
Yeah, it does. I feel like, I have not slept. I mean, I was up at 7, something's up if I'm up at 7. I like had a full day already. But yeah, definitely like very slow, like tired. I mean, the weather doesn't help, but just kind of like, how to describe it? Like, yeah, fog, but it's almost like I have to push myself to like do every single thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like you're like moving through like mud or something. Like, it just feels like
that the molasses. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's like a lack of motivation to do anything. Like, I just want to read my smutty fairy books, my hero fantasy books.
I love that you like read about fairy sex. It's amazing.
No, I've really gone from reading like all of these like super duper metaphysical books, which I will like have a metaphysical book going at the same time usually, but like I've gone from reading all these like really like smart metaphysical like quantum physics books to literally just romantasy, like fantasy smut books. And I'm in it. And we do a Secret Santa for my family, and I put on the list like books, romantic smut books. My family is like, what the fuck is going on with you? Like, what do you mean? So yeah, that's where I'm at. It's a nice distraction, and that's all I want to do right now.
I just want to sleep. I just like want to be in bed, sleep. I had the best cuddle with Iggy this morning. He was like, I just moved. Like, so he sleeps in like the nook of my legs, like, and he'll put his like chin on it. And it's like, it feels so good. But then I like wanted to like roll over, and he jumped off the bed and it was like 7 a.m. I'm like, come on, Iggy. I'm like, let's just like go back to bed. I'm not ready to like get up. And so he got up and he just like cuddled into me, and I was like, oh, this is like, that's like a Xanax. Like, it's just
that's
like,
so nice.
Oh my God, nervous system regulation. Like, cuddle with your pets. It's the best thing ever.
I wish Stella would love me that way. She's such an oxymoron. She's so fluffy and delicious, but she like does not want to snuggle ever. I hate it so much. She like wants to for like a second. And then I found all these pictures of her like sleeping on my legs and like sleeping with me. And she doesn't do that anymore. So Rob and I are now trying to figure out how we traumatized her over the last 5 years to not wanting to hang out with us anymore. We're like, you used to hang out with us and now you don't hang out with us. Like, what's going on?
Oh, it's Arya.
Yeah, it is. It is a mix of that, but she just is. She's never been like a you can like hug her for a long time kind of cat. Yeah, she's just in her own space. Everyone that I create is independent.
Everyone you create. Gave birth to my cat.
Yeah.
No, Archie made you work for it. My last dog, like he was pretty standoffish at first, and like we just like forced him to cuddle, and then he was just like a cuddle bug. But Iggy, literally the day we like met him, he was like in your arms. He like slept on me on the way home, and he is literally everybody who meets him. He's like he has this aura about him that he's just the sweetest. Like he literally goes and hugs everybody. It's just like even people who don't like dogs are like, oh my God, like this dog is amazing. He was definitely sent to me, I think, from Archie, and he's just, he's so sweet.
Well, it's just that idea too of like people, like they say people are either golden retrievers or they're black cat energy. And so I just think that I have black cat energy and I just raise beings with black cat energy because that's my daughter too.
Yeah.
Like her new thing is don't touch me. Don't touch me like that. Don't do that. And I'm like, great boundaries, but I'm your mom.
Right.
So I'm gonna touch you. Don't hug me. Don't kiss me.
Aww.
So yes, everyone's been feeling the vibes. But I'm really excited for what we wanted to talk about today because this has been coming up quite often for both of us this week a lot, like the synchronicities of this. We've talked a lot about manifestation and how to create your own reality, but we haven't really debunked the modern manifestation of the times of like everybody's talking about manifestation and this is what you need to do to have, your dream life overnight and just like all of these things that just don't feel authentic and not real manifestation. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, like what came up for you this week that kind of like started this.
Honestly, I don't remember.
Was something about the gateway we were talking about manifestation being the gateway drug to spirituality.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I was listening to a podcast and they're pretty big, I guess. I didn't really know anything about them. But you told me they were like a big deal. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, let me just listen. I like to like listen to other people. And it's just like there's this like air of inauthenticity. And I was like, it just annoys me on a lot of spiritual podcasts, like, or not even podcasts, just like everywhere in the spiritual realm, they like talk about manifestation. And it's just like people wanting immediate gratification, right? And it's so surface level to me of what spirituality really, really is. And I feel like it's the gateway drug to spirituality. So you get in because you want to manifest, because you want to change your life in some way, right? And people just stick to manifestation, and it's like catering. I think what feels icky to me is it's like making money off people feeling desperate to like change their lives. And it's like, if you just wish this and will this into existence, like your life's going to change forever. All you have to do is like set an intention and like think really hard and it's going to come to you.
Right.
It's like, I don't believe that's really what manifestation is. And I don't really believe that's what spirituality is.
No, it's not. And I do think it's an entry point and a phase. The first time I learned about The Secret and manifestation and all these things was probably when I was living in Hoboken, when I was traveling a country, when I was doing like the tour. And I had a girlfriend of mine who I met on the tour. She was very into that. She was older than me and she really taught me all that stuff and kind of like opened me up to all of that. And that really did open me up to the Joe Dispenza and the Abraham Hicks and the Louise Hay and like all those things that I do feel are like the gateway point to all of this. And so I do think it's a rite of passage.
Yes,
but
agreed.
I do think that there's also what's missing from a lot of these teachings now, not necessarily because I love Abraham, like I love all that stuff, but I think what's missing in this like watered down version that we're getting from like the TikTokers of the world is the lack of doing the work. And I think that that's why they're so popular. I think that because people really want to bypass the work. You say this to me. We talk about this all the time. Like people really want to bypass the shadow stuff, the really deep, like going in, doing the work, the stuff that takes years, because people don't want to dedicate that time. They want it overnight. Like they want but the whole thing is that to really change your life and change your reality, change your physical reality, you have to put in the work. If it was that easy, it wouldn't be something that could stay. Like it wouldn't have stability, right?
Right. It would come as quickly as it would go as quickly as it came, and everybody would have exactly what they want. And part of life and this 3D experience is to struggle in a way, and it's figuring out, what is this teaching me? And not to say don't call in good things, but like when you expect $1 million by the end of the year, like just saying it out loud is not going to do anything. It's like, what are you doing? And are you living an aligned life where that can be called in? Like, and I think it's about alignment. It's about, like, are you really manifesting from a place that's genuine and authentic, right? So it's like manifestation is a piece, and I think it's a small piece. I think it's the first thing that really gets people into the spiritual, like, industry field, whatever you want to call it, because it's like, hey, we can make your dreams come true. Like, you've been thinking this, like, well, if you think enough and say it out loud and set an intention, it's magic, right?
Right.
It's like a magic pill and a magic bullet. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's just things have to align, and there has to be there's work to be done in order for that piece of it to click.
Right. And I think that the piece that rings really true is we have the ability to create and shift our reality. We do have that ability, right? Like that is in our hands. We are source, we are of source, it's within us, it's of us. Like we have that ability to change our reality. But what you're saying, and we have been also discussing this earlier in the week, is what it takes to change that reality and to shift that reality is changing your frequency to align, to your point, to align with the things that you want. And I do think that we manifest bad things as much as we manifest good things. And I actually don't even like, I hate even at this point in my journey, like labeling things bad and good, because I just think things are like just things. They're they're neutral, right? Like, but I do think we manifest disease from misalignment. I think we manifest situations because we're manifesting them either because we need to learn a lesson or because our energy is at a certain point. Our frequency is everything. It's everything. That being out of alignment creates dis-ease within the light body and the physical reality. And when you are in alignment with the things that you want, you are able to then attract those things. That's how you magnetize the things that you want. That's what it is to be.
Right. And if you think about frequency, thoughts are frequency, words are frequency, emotions are frequency. So if what you're manifesting is not aligning with that, like let's say, okay, I want a lot of people manifest relationships, right? But if inside you don't feel worthy, you don't feel good enough, your thought is, I'm never going to find someone, but if I just manifest this, I will. It's like they're mismatched. And your vibration of, I'm not good enough is like, yeah, you're not. right? So, and if you think about when you say something like that, like, I don't feel good enough, and maybe, and a lot of this is subconscious. So it's not that you're feeling like I'm not worthy of this, but the way you talk about yourself, the way you treat yourself is a reflection of that worth or lack of, right? So when you're saying, I'm never going to meet someone, how does that feel when you say it? Because I know when I say things, I feel something, right? I can feel a vibration. I can feel an emotion. And when you say really positive things, and I'm not a toxic positivity person, but there is a thing where I'm like, I'm really lucky. Like right now, my heart, I can feel it in my heart.
Right.
That's the frequency, that's the vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say I'm really lucky, lucky things are going to come to me. Like the good things are going to come because you're sending out this frequency to match another frequency, something
Right.
out there that has the same frequency. So that's really what manifestation is like magnetism,
Right.
right?
Right.
Is getting at a frequency so anything that matches it comes right to you.
Right. Right. And I do think it's multifaceted in the work that we do, right? Because I think it's layered. I think your first layer is you have to address and clear some of those subconscious beliefs and patterns. That's ancestral, that's past life, that's going through the trauma. That's where the work is, right? Because you're digging deep into those things that maybe you aren't controlling on a day-to-day basis, where you might be saying, I'm worthy of these things. I don't have any trauma from this life, but then there's like this little like voice in your soul that like believes it, right? For some reason. So you have to kind of work through the clearing of all the stuff out. Then you work on the shifting the energy, aligning to those things, because it really is about who you are being and what frequency you're standing in, right? And to your point of everything is energy, like we've talked about this before, but like what you consume food wise is energy. What you consume with who you talk to is energy. Your clothes have energy. Like if you put on an outfit that makes you feel like somebody who, let's say you're not working and then you decide to wear sweatpants every single day and feel like, you feel like a bum. Right. And then, but you're like, but you're saying to yourself, like, I'm such a bum, like, blah, blah, blah. And like, it's what you believe about yourself. And then you are being that. And then you can't find a job. Right. Like, it's like, well, there's certain energy about getting up, getting dressed, like doing those things. It's like dress for the job you want. Right. Like, that's kind of like the way that I look at it. And it really is about being the version of you that has the things that you desire, because there is a version of you that has it and you wouldn't even imagine it, see it if it didn't exist in another timeline somewhere. And that's how we collapse the timelines and becoming that version of yourself, and you're collapsing the other timelines. That's how we quantum leap.
Absolutely. But to your point, if you can't visualize it, then the only thing that exists is the reality you're in, right? Is the timeline you're in. And a lot of people cannot visualize because of all that clutter, because of all soul contracts or past life trauma or ancestral trauma or childhood trauma. It doesn't have to be in another life, So if you are not working on that, working through it, because you're literally holding on to it and you're holding on to that energy. So it's like, if you don't let go of it and process it and release it, like you are almost putting a block in front of you that it's like, this is it, right? And if you can't remove that block to like look at possibilities, and possibilities are literally the other realities where you have this thing. So it's like, that's why it's so important to, clear that stuff out so that you understand, let's turn the dial to a different timeline, because I can have that. When you feel like this is it, that to me is like, okay, you're putting a block in and you have to clear something out, because if you can't visualize it, nothing's going to come.
Right.
Because you are only tuned in to this timeline.
Right. Right. And I would say too, if you are someone that can't visualize it, you're like, I don't know what I want my life to look like, then I would say, and this is very Beth coded, but I would say focus on the feeling that you want to have.
Yeah.
So, and that shifts the frequency. So just like you were saying about being lucky, right? So like if you desire to have love. I always tell people, like, I do these meditations sometimes where, like, I will say, like, think of someone that you love to just get you into the feeling of love. Think of one thing that you're really grateful for just to get into that feeling. Think of one memory that brings you joy to get into the feeling of joy, to get into that vibration, to shift into that, because it's the feeling that shifts the frequency, right? That's what makes things go into play. So you don't have to like be like, okay, in the next year, I want to be making X. Like people are like, you need to be detailed. You need to like have exactly. Well, maybe you are so broken that you don't know, and that's how you feel. Like I've been there. Like you feel so lost and so in the dark that you don't know. And all you can do is say, like, I just know that in the future, I want to feel joy. I know I want to feel loved. I know I want to feel gratitude. I know I want to feel enchanted by my life. Start with the feelings.
Absolutely. And I know people can feel broken, and not that like some people aren't, but it's like if you're broken, you can put yourself back together, right? It doesn't mean it's permanent. And I think it's just like I always think of that Japanese tradition of like the gold foil. And it's like you become more beautiful after, and like everybody has pieces, right? Like, and it's just not looking at it as like this is just it, right? And I think we all can be like we've had one memory that's good.
Yeah.
It's not, and if you're in that much of hopelessness, you do need help. Like
that's
what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think that's a piece of it too. Well, support through the journey regardless, right? Because through the clearing phase, like all the things that come up, those subconscious traumas, those subconscious beliefs, I really think those are a lot to unload.
Right. I just always hate hearing when people are like, I feel broken or I'm broken.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you feel broken, right? You're not a broken person. Because I hear this all the time in my therapy clients, and it's like, you're not. You're just figuring it out and piecing things together. And it's because I feel like that's such a place of desperation and hopelessness, and we have to have faith and hope, and that's what's going to pull us through. And I think that's what's hard to find. Like, I think we can't always jump into faith or hope. But to your point, it's like, okay, then tune into a moment that you felt good, right? You don't have to feel great, but like, or neutral, right? Where was a point where it wasn't bad, right? So that's where you start shifting your frequency is looking at things of like, okay, I don't want to go from horrible to amazing because that's just unrealistic. But how can I like take the steps to get from horrible to just bad to neutral to good to great to amazing? And it's almost like how the frequency goes, right? Of like emotions.
Yeah, well, you are like shifting it.
Leveling up.
Yeah, you are. And I just wanted to say I just like smiled a little bit because I definitely have felt broken and hopeless in my life, but also the reason why I use that word is because they're repeating it. They're using it so much in the book. So I'm like the
main freaking fairies are broken.
They feel broken. They keep being like she's broken. He's breaking. So anyway, that was really why I used that term. But I have felt that like hopelessness and that despair, and I have been there. I have been there more recently than I would like to admit, but I have been. And I would say like I hate this word, but I really like the term of it, like glimmers. So glimmers being like these little sparkles of light, right? So like maybe we find a different name, like word for it, because I just think it's cheesy. But I like the idea of finding those little sparks, those little moments in your day or those little moments in your week where you can find that light to help pull yourself out of that darkness, because it really does take these smaller steps. It's not always a gigantic leap going from feeling that way in the dark, going to quantum leaping into I have $1 million and now everything is like better. Like there's really a lot of steps in the middle of that. And the first step is admitting that you wrong. The first step is addressing that. The first step is looking at it and being like, I am in this place and I don't want to be in this place. Because sometimes we also, this is like a whole nother thing. We also get addicted to the pain sometimes, especially if you're a creative and you're an artist. Like you sometimes can get like in that and you get like addicted to feeling bad and addicted to that mentality and that feeling. And also like, you know, the victim mentality. Like I've also been, you know, like there's things happening in that shadow phase that like you really need to like explore what's going on. Then you take one step, you know, you decide I'm ready to let this go. I'm ready to get out of the dark. You take one step and one step and one step. And then you turn around and you look back and you say, oh my God, I am here now. But like, you, if you think about the end, I mean, it's like,
you're never going
to get there.
You're never going to make a move because what you're really talking about is familiarity and comfortability, you know, and we like to be comfortable. You know, I have this conversation all the time. It's like, if you want something to change, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it doesn't have to be like going from feeling horrible to having everything perfect in your life. And there is no such thing as perfect, but like so much more amazing of ideal, you know, like that would require so much discomfort because you are changing everything and you are getting out of your comfort zone and taking so many risks. And that's really scary. Like it's scary for good things to happen. And I don't think we talk about that enough is like, yeah, it's terrifying because it's unfamiliar, you know, and ideally in our head, we're like, ooh, that feels good. But the way to get there doesn't necessarily feel good, you know? So that's why taking small steps is like, okay, I can get out of my comfort zone a little bit, but I can come right back if I need to, right? But you'll see, okay, that was uncomfortable, but the more I do it, the more familiar it feels. And the more I can like settle in there. Then I'm going to take another step. Ooh, that feels a little bit uncomfortable too, but the more I do it, the more familiar and comfortable it feels. So it's like you have to take each step. Like you're not going to go from never running to running a marathon. You know, you have to train. Right.
It's so true. And I also think the whole idea of perfection or what you are setting yourself up for with manifestation also needs to be shifted, right? Because what do you actually desire? What are you calling in? Like, what is happiness, right? Like, we kind of like gloss over this, right? And we also do this thing where we're like, well, when I have money, I'll do this. When I'm happy, I'll do this, right? When I have this, I'll do this. And like the whole thing, right, about being is being in that energy now and setting yourself up for like, if you want to be successful, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? Like, can you be successful with your family, with your, you know, your relationship? Can you be successful in other ways? What does a happy life look like? Because there's not any real authentic reality where you're not going to cry, where you're not going to have loss and pain, where you're not going to have ups and downs. There are timelines and realities where things can be better, but figuring out what that looks like in a way that's also realistic. Like you can be a millionaire. I'm not going to tell you you're not. I was just yelling with my husband because he had gotten, there was some like crazy job that he applied for and he got rejected from it. And he was like, we knew it was a pipe dream. And I was like, we can have pipe dreams. And he was like, okay, relax. I was like, we can have pipe dreams too. And he was like, okay. And I was like, we deserve it. But like, you know, you can have whatever it is that you desire to have, but look at why you want that thing. Look at what it really is, you know, and really explore that too, because sometimes I think there's other things happening with that.
Right. And very Amanda coded is like your physical reality has to catch up to your inner. So if your inner's not there, the physical's not. And also just like the fact that like you have to be flexible because like your wants, needs, and desires always are changing, you know? So maybe what you want now is not what you'll want by the time you get something, you know? So it's like, and that's why manifestation, like also like what's just not talked about is like it's ever evolving, you know? And because it's not going to come immediately, some things do, you know? And I think when you do small and realistic, it can come in. But it's like if you're doing something that's so the expectations are so unrealistic, a lot has to happen for the universe to bring that to you, right? And a lot of that has to happen inside first so that you're ready and allowing yourself to receive it. So if you have all that energy stockpiled from traumas you haven't addressed, from whatever life or line it's from, there's no room for that to come in. So that's exactly why a lot of like doing the work is clearing out space and making space for things to come in so that you can hold them, and you can hold them for a long period of time, you know? Because I also think like with highest self and where we want to be on this journey, like it's called a journey for a reason. There's not really an end stop, like, a destination. It's just you're going on this journey. So I want to feel as comfortable and be in the most ideal, highest place as possible. But because the journey changes and the destinations on your journey change, it's going to require different things. It's going to require different emotions. It's going to require a different amount of capability to handle things, so might require a different amount of money,
Yeah.
So I think we have to take all that into account. And I think when someone's sitting down, it's like, I want a boyfriend and I want to get married tomorrow. It's like, but why?
Right.
And I think this is a lot of what I talk about with both kinds of clients. It's like, why do you want this thing? What does that mean to you? Like I had a client yesterday and they were talking about, well, I need the house. Well, what does a house mean to you? They're like, I don't know. I never even thought about it.
Right.
I think with kids, people don't think about it. With marriage, they just have this societal pressure of like, you should be married, you should have the house, you should want kids. But why? What is that going to do for you? Because, and it's not that don't have an answer. It's just that you haven't thought about it. And that helps you attract what you want because you understand what it's going to do for you, how it's going to make you feel, and how that is going to make life like feel like you're living it to the fullest and have this purpose.
Right, right. And I think the flexibility and the acceptance also of there's an amount of this that I can control, and I have the control over my own frequency, I have the control over my own reality, and then that there's also things that are just destined to happen that were planned before you even came in, and the acceptance of letting divine timing happen, like letting, the universe take the wheel a little bit. Like I will say with trying to get pregnant, it took me a really long time to get pregnant, and I got pregnant like immediately after Rob and I had a conversation and did a ritual that was basically like acceptance of like looking at each other and saying, hey, if this doesn't happen, we're going to be okay. And we can have a life where we don't have a child, right? Like, and what does that look like? And I do that a lot with myself, like where I'll be like, okay, if things don't work out, if something I want doesn't work out, having that acceptance of like, maybe the thing I'm pushing so hard for isn't something that's meant to be. And that acceptance and that letting go also allows space for those things to come in. And like right after I had that like switch, and I truly believed it, like I was like, all right, this might just not happen. And I'm okay with that. And you're okay with that. I'm enough. We're okay. Like we're enough together. I literally got pregnant. Like I think I conceived. Like it was a sexy ritual. Secret is letting it go and drinking Robitussin. Quote me on that. But you know what I mean? Like I do think that there's an acceptance piece of it too.
Definitely. And like as you were saying that, like I used to desperately want to like act, and like originally it was Broadway, then I wanted to be in TV and movies, and like I was watching something and I'm like, I would hate acting. Like I think I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about being on set all day, and like you can't do things on your own time. Even if you have like a line, you have to be there all day. And then I'm remembering rehearsals from plays where I'm like, this is like wasting my time because like I have to allow someone else to dictate what I do. I'm like, I would hate it, So
Yeah.
it's like I really had to think about like, why was that something I wanted? Was it fame? Was it like I do love pretend and play, like I always have since I'm like a little kid. Like Lauren and I like do stupid sketches all the time for no one else but ourselves, but with cracks us up. So there is a part of it that I love doing. I love singing. I'd never want to go on tour or like try because I don't want to be on someone else's schedule and overrun myself. That's not where like my soul is like, yeah, that's really what I do want to do. I just really enjoy it.
Right.
So maybe there are some things that you just really enjoy, but like you have to ask yourself, why do you want these things? What does it bring to you? And realistically, if you were to have it, how does that look and feel? You know? And I think we just don't look deeply enough. And that's my problem with manifestation is it's like people look at it at such a surface level. Manifestation in itself is not bad. You know, it's just, I think how it's like packaged to people is very surface level.
Mm-hmm.
It like provides someone to bypass work and just expect things to come in without really thinking about why they want it, what it would do for them, and how it will change their life. How will you feel? And what will this lead to? Like, what is the purpose of all of this?
Right. Right. Yeah. And I also would say too, you mentioned before about the physical. When you take a larger leap and you do skip some steps, which happens sometimes, like sometimes
Yeah.
the energy is just different, right? Like it's a full moon energy, like sometimes it's just different. And also maybe that's what's meant to happen, right? Like the universe is like, you're not moving fast enough. I got to kick you in the butt, right? Like, I mean, that happened with my seizure, right? They were like, nope, wrong timeline. And like, the things happen. Okay. But the thing is that if you don't align your frequency with your physical body or align your physical body with your light body, which is like what I preach and talk about all the time, right? Like that's where the misalignment happens. So you might get what you want, but then you feel really burnt out. You might get what you want, but you are sick, right? I mean, we both lived through that. Like, I really fried myself over all these years. And I think about it even like when, my Instagram blew up a couple of years ago, but like I wasn't happy with that because it wasn't sustainable. And I was like, this isn't exact, so it's like you have to be aligned, right? Like with that. So a lot of the things that we do, right? So we work on the clearing, but then there's the integration piece of this, which is the physical. And that is the food that you eat. It's the energy work that you do. It's all of those things, what you listen to, all of that movement, anything that you do with the physical body to align it with the light body, that's how you're going to also feel good, because it's not just what you have, it's also how you feel. So you could get everything that you want and still feel like shit, because you're
Right.
misaligned. And then you're like, why do I have everything that I wanted, but I still don't feel good? Why do I still not feel great? Well, like, because there's like this misalignment. So I do think that there's, again, like that piece is missing. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, if I do these affirmations, then I will quantum leap overnight. And then you get there and you don't feel great. But you know what I mean? Like
Right.
there has to be that
Yeah.
bridge.
Right. And it's also like you can't carry it because I think you haven't made room,
Mm.
And it's like, what's the point of having something you can't carry or keep? You know?
Exactly. Exactly. So I do think like, it's about clearing, it's about going deep, and it's about becoming, really, right? Aligning your
Right.
frequency and becoming. And that, I feel like you and I don't explicitly work on manifestation because, there's so many people on social media that are like manifesting, right? Like, but I would say that the work that we do helps you to get to those realities that you want to be in and helps you become the version of you that you desire to be. And that helps you create the reality that you want to live in. And so therefore, right, like, I mean, we do have our part in the manifestation world.
Absolutely. Right. We help you get to the place where you're manifesting from an authentic place versus an almost like out of body place,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's just like actualizing a life that's on the right path,
Mhm.
right? And that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. That's why we have this podcast is like, yeah, like you're going to find and everything is just so packaged and feels like kind of phony on social media. And it's like, there's a reality to it. There's a depth to it. It's not just that, you know? So I'm not knocking manifestation. That wasn't like my point. It's just how it's presented is not really what it is. And I think I do want to look this up because I thought it was so right what I sent to you too. I'm following now this Kabbalah account, and they did a really good post on it, and they said manifestation. Okay, it's you're remembering who you are, and I loved that, because that is, if you can remember who you are at a soul level, then you call it all the right things.
Right.
But it's not just from where you are if you haven't done the work.
Right. And you remember your ability to do so as a soul, right?
Exactly.
Because that's really what it's about. It's the journey of the re-remembering, essentially, of who you are. So I think that that's really, really beautiful. And again, like, if you need support, we're here. This is what we do. And I would also just like to say, if anybody has been listening to us for a while, write a review on Apple Podcasts.
Please.
I realize we have none. We're not big on like,
or YouTube, wherever you're listening or watching. Please, if you love it, if you like it, even if you don't like it, give us feedback. We want to hear
if you don't like it, don't give us feedback. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, you can let us know.
But,
I don't like criticism.
I want to, but you know what? I think part of this is also being open to criticism, right? Because that's how we can align better. And not that we're necessarily going to do what you want, but it's good to take in. And I hope it's overwhelmingly good, because we want to reach people and have it like align. Like, that's what it's all about, is alignment. So please leave us a review if you are into this and it feels right. If anybody has been a client of ours, same thing. We love feedback, and we want to share as much as possible with other people what this can do for you. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.